Good morning, everyone. Hi, hello. My name is EJ, and I am back again with another narrated art time lapse video for us to take a look at. Hopefully, learn a thing or two from, and kind of enjoy the process of me creating my artwork. So, yeah. Anyways, before anything else, I would like to say Happy New Year. This should be the very first video I post of the year. So yeah, I'll be posting it around January 1st. And so I hope you had a great holiday. I hope everything was awesome for you this past Christmas. And of course, Happy New Year. Looking forward to doing more artwork this year. So yeah, let's talk about this artwork. This artwork is for a prompt from krita-artists. I joined another krita-artist challenge. The prompt for this particular illustration is nature overtaking civilization, or overtaking I don't remember quite what the prompt was. It's like a long prompt, but basically the idea was nature overtaking like man-made objects, cities, buildings, that kind of thing. So yeah, like kind of like a dystopian look, basically. A post-apocalypse kind of look was what the idea behind the prompt was, but it was a really long prompt. It's something like nature overtaking something something something. But in my case, in my particular project, I just shortened it to nature, so I started calling this project Nature. So yeah, that was basically what the prompt for this challenge was, and whatnot. And my inspiration for my piece is the game The Last of Us. Such a good game. It's a very good game by Naughty Dog. Came out, I do believe, I don't even remember when The Last of Us came out. Apologize for that. My phone was beeping. Let me put it on mute. Now I'm super curious when The Last of Us came out, so I have to look it up now. Giving me a slight pause in my narration. When was The Last of Us came out? Part 1. Okay, Wikipedia is not giving me a good answer because it's giving me the release date of the remaster, which the remaster came out in 2022. But the actual game 2013. Wow, it's a decade old now. It doesn't feel like it, man. It doesn't feel like it's been a decade old, but the game The Last of Us has a really great story. It's an amazing story. It's so amazing that HBO adapted it into a TV series. I started watching it. I have not gotten the chance to finish it, but it's an amazing story. And video games with really good stories, there's plenty of them. It's almost integral part of every single video game is to have a story. So having a story is an integral part of a video game now. But some of them are just really amazing stories. Some of them had made me cry. I'm not gonna lie. So the Final Fantasy games have made me feel emotions, right? First one I played was Final Fantasy X. When one of the characters died. I'm sorry for ruining that plot twist, but in Final Fantasy X, one of the characters died, and that was an emotional moment for me, right? Until I found out that Final Fantasy actually does this all the time. They kill off like a lot of major characters in their series, so I got used to it. But Final Fantasy X was the very first one that I played where a character died, and then Final Fantasy VII is the one that everyone remembered the most. There was a character that in there that really wrecked people's hearts, man. But anyways, Last of Us, same scenario, same kind of effect. I mean, this story was really deep, and it really hit hard. So yeah, but I love the game, and that was my inspiration, right? Anyways, I've gone on quite too long about the prompt. So let's talk about the process. The process is my standard process, sort of. I realized that the past year I haven't been doing my 3D block out. I really love doing my 3D block out because it helps me figure out space and lighting and whatnot, but I haven't been doing it. I'm not quite sure why. I've just been in the mood for quick sketches and quick speed paints, basically, which is pretty much what this is. This is like around a 3-hour work. A lot of my works have been going on for like 5-7. You know, my work process and my time, the amount of time I spent on my artwork has been lengthening. It's both kind of like a blessing and a curse. A blessing because, you know, a lot more detail is coming out, a lot more good work is coming out, but then at the same time it takes quite a lot of time, and I'm getting shorter and shorter with time availability. So yeah, but this one was a quick one. It was like around 3 hours. I did not do my 3D block out, which I normally do, and I did not do a good line sketch. As you can see, I started out with a rough sketch and just kept it rough. I didn't go over my quick sketch with more details and whatnot with a clean line sketch. I just started working. So I don't know why. I was inspired to be rough with this piece because it kind of goes with the piece, you know. I mean, you're kind of going for a dystopian look, so it really felt like a rough looking piece was far more appropriate with it. And so that's what I did. I did a speed paint, you know. So yeah, but I did a quick sketch, laid down my colors very, very quickly. The colors were pretty easy. They're mainly dark tones, as you can see, so I kept it dark with a lot of the light areas in the middle, and then I just added some highlights and then smudged everything. And then once I have everything smudged, I went back with a multiply brush, or a brush set on multiply, just to kind of darken some areas and whatnot. And then after I started doing that, I started before I started detailing, I also grabbed a brush, some nature brush that comes standard with krita, which we can see in the lower right now. They have some leaves brush on that nature set. Picked one out, stamp some brush, some nature brushwork, some leaves on the illustration, just so that I could kind of have a good rough idea of where the leaves are and whatnot. And yeah, just started my detailing process. Again, my detailing process is pretty standard. It's a rinse and repeat pattern, basically. I basically delineate my edges, darken my shadows, and add the highlights, basically. And I do that section by section by section. So as you can see, I started with one of the more difficult areas in the piece, which is what I'm working on. The leaves that are coming down from the roof. So basically the idea of the scenario is that, you know, this girl, this female, is doing urban exploration of some sort, comes across a building that has been dilapidated and nature's taking over, right? And there's probably like some crack on the ceiling, and that's the reason why we have this shaft of light coming in from above. And you can see that there's plants coming down from the roof, some sort of vines like crawling and hanging from the ceiling, basically, because, you know, obviously there's a crack there, and of course the girl is looking up there. So yeah, that particular area was what I started on, but it actually looked like I moved on from that area, and started working on the background, which kind of makes sense. Typically when people work, they start at the very background and slowly work their way to the foreground, right? Because it's hard to be working on the foreground, add some details, and then find out you have to paint over those details because of something that's going on in the back. It's a lot easier to paint over background stuff. It makes a lot more sense doing it that way rather than the background painting over the foreground. It's just kind of just one of those things. I mean, you can work reverse, of course. There's no hard set rule that says you couldn't do it the other way, but I like doing it the standard way, background to foreground. That's what most people do. And so the leaves at the foreground is obviously the foreground. I thought I started working on that, but it turns out I was just adding some dark areas just to kind of make it more cohesive, and then I started doing work on the background. So yeah, I'm slowly shaping things up. I remember having such a hard time on this left side right here where the rest of them are. Like, I just did not know. Like, I remember when I was working on this, like, all the details were so fuzzy in my head. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna detail. Basically, the bookshelf that I was working on / I'm working on, that's kind of easy because that's pretty obvious, right? But like everything else behind those two desks on the left, I'm like, wait, what's over there? So I didn't really know. I also had kind of have like general guidelines where everything was gonna be. That's what those lines are. So I pop them in now and then just to kind of give me an idea of where things are. I basically wanted the edge of the room. I wanted to know where it is. So when I'm doing my details and I'm adding objects, like, I don't want to paint over on top of that, basically, right? Because it needs to be like the higher part of the plane. And so yeah, I needed that guide to where things are. I also needed to know how high things are, and that's the reason why I have all those other lines. That's just kind of basically what those lines are. But yeah, I'm just slowly adding details in. That crack that I'm working on, I'm not too happy with it. A lot of the details in the back are very fuzzy. I intended it to be that way. Like, I didn't want to zoom in to really have refined edges on that. Simply because I wanted it to remain kind of loose looking, right? The cracks that I just did though are too sharp of an edge, quite honestly, and so it kind of conflicts with the whole depth of field effect, because how I left like the bookcase, for example, the bookcase is very fuzzy, right? Because I didn't want to zoom in, I didn't want to give it sharp edges. The bookcase look awesome because it's has like that depth of field effect, everything fuzzy in the back, everything sharp in the front, except those cracks. I think I made it too sharp, and so it kind of throws things off, quite honestly. So I actually kind of don't like those cracks. Every single time I look at this piece again, my eyes just go straight to those cracks. I'm like, man, I need to do something with those cracks just because it's too sharp. I should blur it out or something. But yeah, I pretty much just called this piece done, so I didn't want to go back and redo that and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna let the video play, and you guys just enjoy the show for now. Watch me do my detailing process, and towards the end of the video I'm gonna come back and do my assessment of this piece. So yeah, enjoy the show. piece is really coming along really nice. I'm really enjoying watching this. I really like seeing it developed. I thought that was kind of fun, like looking back at it. And yeah, so bear in mind that this is the first time I saw the time lapse after initially editing it, so it's actually kind of cool. And yeah, so I take it back. Typically I do a good clean line sketch over my rough sketch. With this one I skipped all of the background. Like I didn't do it for the background, but clearly I did it for the girl, which kind of makes sense because the girl is the focal point, right? So I really gotta get a good grip on the details on the girl, obviously. Ooh, and I really like that. I really like how I did that skin tone. That was pretty cool. So yeah, did I do the stomach? It looks like yeah, I did do the stomach eventually. That was really cool to watch. But anyways, my assessment of this piece, I love this piece. I love how it came out. I love the colors and the values. The value, obviously. I was really going for a chiaroscuro effect. Man, I hate pronouncing that word. I can never pronounce it right. I was going for a chiaroscuro effect, which is basically this thing in art where the emphasis is a huge contrast between light and shadow, right? Like the whole piece is typically very, very dark with a few parts that are lit. So really great examples during the Renaissance era. There's a lot of chiaroscuro effect during the Renaissance era that just looks amazing. So I was simply going for that. You know, that's the reason why I wanted to do an internal scene, because I really wanted everything to be dark. I also barely did any kind of reference work before I started. I was watching a video gameplay of Last of Us and saw this one scene where it was basically set up like this, right? It was like a living room interior with a crack on top of the ceiling, so the light was coming in, and there was like leaves or grass growing in the middle of the living room. So I was watching that, and that was basically my inspiration as well, right? So I started sketching it out on Krita, and then after I sketched it out, I looked for references. So I kind of did it opposite, obviously. But yeah, the general idea of that video was what I was going for, you know. Crack in the ceiling, shaft of light, pouring light into a darkened room, and then there's grass growing inside that room because nature is taking over. So yeah, but yeah, I really like how it turns out. It's very, very loose. It's not quite as detailed as some of my pieces, so I it's not quite as effective as some of my other pieces, I feel like. And the looseness of it kind of has a negative effect on the background. Like there's so many things in the background that if you zoom in that does not make sense. Like those desks, what is the deal with the back of the seat, man? Those are like low rider seats. Like I don't know why I thought that, right? Like I should edit it because it doesn't look right. But yeah, they're tilted way too far back. I'm like, man, those seats look not right. So here's the shaft of light I added. I put this in color dodge, right? Initially it was orange, switched it out to red, put it in color dodge. It is such a nice effect. I love that. That looks really good. So yeah, but yeah, this is the end of the piece. It's coming out really nicely. So yeah, I really love that chiaroscuro effect. Funky things in the background, but that's okay because, you know, the foreground really just compensates for everything that is lacking in the piece. So yeah, and there it is, man. That is looking really nice right there. adding some more highlights, and then yeah, that's it. The piece is done. Thank you guys for watching this. I hope you guys learned a thing or two from it. I will catch you guys in the next video. Once again, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that great stuff. I hope you had a good one. See you in the next video. Good night.